Hey guys, welcome back to Me Being Cheap. Today, I got a Facebook notification where you can go back and see, this day in history. Today is my 10-year anniversary of being debt-free. Now, that's debt-free, not including the mortgage. And I posted that on Facebook to share my memory, and a lot of people were asking, well, how long did that take? So I actually had to go back and take a look. So real quick, I'll give you the rundown. 20 months, and I did the Dave Ramsey baby steps. So 20 months it took to save the $1,000 emergency fund and pay off $26,403. The bulk of that was student loan. On a side note, had I continued making my student loan payments the way I was supposed to make them, I would still be paying on that student loan until November of 2025. So that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So 10 years ago, I had these suckers paid off. Okay. Altogether, that took me 20 months. It took me 20 months to do the $1,000 emergency fund and pay off $26,403. Then over the next 20 months, I put aside an emergency fund of 3 to 6 months, and that's about $13,000. And then I started doing 15% into retirement and also funding my children's college fund. And then I started, August of 2016 through January of 2019. It was roughly 30 months, and it took me that long to pay off $47,000 roughly for the mortgage. Now, if I had paid off the mortgage like I was supposed to, like on the regular schedule, my estimated payoff would have been $75,296, and I would have paid it off in 2039. Again, we're in 2023 right now. That is a long time. That is a long time to be paying on a mortgage. So, just to reiterate, it took me 20 months to do the first part, which is the $1,000 emergency fund and pay off all your debt except for the mortgage. That was $26,403. The bulk of it was student loans. Then it took me $30,000 to pay off it took me 30 months to pay off about $47,000. Okay, so I have been mortgage-free for 4 years, other debt-free for 10 years. So where am I going now on this channel? I started this channel many years ago when I was paying off the mortgage. So I had already paid off all my consumer debt. I was just buckling down and trying to pay off the mortgage. I've had the mortgage paid off for about 4 years now. So in this time, my kids are basically adults. I've got one that is an adult that's in college. I've got one that'll be an adult in a few months and headed to college shortly. And I got married. And so what I have been doing, I haven't been posting a whole lot of videos. That doesn't mean I haven't been busy. So I've been doing some things to improve our health so that when we can retire, we're actually able to get out and enjoy it. So I don't know about you, but during the pandemic, I really started feeling my age. Like I'm 47, I'm going to be 48 in a few months. Really have started feeling my age in the past couple of years. So if that increases every year, by the time I can retire, I probably won't be moving around. So trying to do some things to keep moving, keep active, so that when we do retire, we can actually enjoy it. So last fall, I started a side channel called Me Being Cheap, Better Living. And that was just to hold myself accountable, same as when I was paying off a mortgage. I had started that side channel because I was training to run a half marathon. And I did that in October of 2022. So that was 13.1 miles that I ran. It was a challenge, but I did it. So I'm always looking for other challenges. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I might train for a triathlon. Who knows? I did a couple other foot races. I did a bike race last year. So I do try to stay active, you know, try and keep myself young. I mean, we're all getting older, so it happens to the best of us. I still have a frugal lifestyle. Michael still has a frugal lifestyle. We are debt free, but when you're debt free, you don't have to worry as much, and that's really nice, because I know there's been a lot of months that we've had crazy electric bills, crazy gas bills, and so have a lot of other people I know, and it's been devastating for a lot of people. But for us, we were, you know, able to weather the storm. So that's one reason why I do advocate get out of debt. Get out of debt so that you're able to weather these storms a little bit better. But that being said, we don't have to watch things as closely. So that doesn't mean you get out of debt and then you run out and, you know, buy 50 new cars and get credit cards and all that. You still have to watch yourself, but not as closely. So we have some goals that we are working towards, and we want to go to Israel next year. And of course, we're not going to put that on a credit card. We'll pay cash for that. So we are kind of rat-holing some money as we go, kind of making sure we're not wasting money on certain things. And so one of the things that we're doing is we are trying to eat down the meat that we have in the freezer. So during the pandemic, we had raised a lot of quail and chicken and bunnies, and then Michael deer hunts. And so we're trying to eat more of that so that we're not having to spend the high prices on the meat at the grocery store. That'll give us a chance to eat down on that food so that when we are able to retire, if we're able to retire eventually, we don't have freezers full of food that we have to keep plugged in and pay the electric bill on. So that's one thing that we're doing. Also trying to eat more of the food that we've freeze-dried and canned. So we've been doing some experimenting with preserved foods. So if we're cooking a recipe and it calls for fresh basil, used to we would, if we didn't have any basil that was, you know, growing outside, like if it was in the wintertime, we would just run to the store and buy fresh basil. But now we are using the freeze-dried basil. And so we're doing a lot of things to incorporate that. Back when eggs had gotten really expensive and we had used up the eggs, because chickens don't lay in the wintertime, we had used up all those eggs. We got into our freeze-dried eggs to avoid having to spend money at the grocery store on those. So we are trying to eat through some of the food that we have in the freezers, as well as experimenting with stockpiled food. So we will be taking you on a tour of some of our recipes. That's one thing we have planned. We'll be doing that. I do get a lot of questions and comments on my freeze drying videos, and I do like to keep my freeze dryer going, so I will probably do a weekly video of what I have going in the freeze dryer. If not a weekly video on what we have going in the freeze dryer, it's okay, we freeze dried this stuff 3 years ago, now we're going to eat it, how does it taste, that sort of thing. But we'll have something having to do with freeze drying. And then we are still doing a lot of gardening, and those have not been very popular videos, although I do have a few loyal people that watch those that like to keep up with what we're doing in our growing zone here in Kansas. So I will continue to post some garden updates as we get that going this year. And then finally, I do have some goals that I am working on, and one of them is to start paring down on some things around here, and it's most notably paper. So I'm in my office right now. This is where I work every day, and Behind me, behind this camera, is a bank of cabinets. And then over here, you can probably see there's a shelf here that's a bookshelf. But out of line of sight is another shelf that matches this one. And it is full of family history stuff. And I don't relish the thought if I want to go traveling, you know, downsize. This is a very large house. You know, once the kids are out of the house, if we want to downsize, if we want to get a little retirement cabin, I'm not going to have room to take all this with me, nor do I want to trash it. But what I want to do is pare down a lot of this stuff. So in these cabinets behind me, there's a filing cabinet over here. It's full of paper. And a lot of it, there's no reason to keep it. So IRS says you only have to keep your tax returns for 6 years. I've got way more than 6 years, and we're talking back in the day where everybody gave you a paper statement and you had to have all that for the deductions. So literally each year that I have a box this big full of paper. Well, you can't just pitch that out in the trash because, you know, people do identity theft. Last summer, I was going to start on that, and I was just going to burn the stuff, but then we were in the middle of a drought. I didn't want to burn up a bunch of shredders and generate a bunch of trash. So I did find a little inker where you can ink through the confidential information. So I've been inking about a box every 2 weeks and just putting it out with the regular trash. So that's one of my goals, is to do some paring down, most notably of paper. And then once I get that taken care of, I'll probably start working on some of the genealogy stuff over there, getting it organized, getting my computer databases updated, and eventually put together a book, a family history with the pertinent information. And then once I've digitized the copies of the things I want, I'll probably send all that stuff down to the salt mine. So we have underground vaults and storage in Hutchinson, Kansas. They do archival storage. That's where, like, when people make movies, they send all the original copies and all that important stuff, documents, so forth. It's down 600 feet in a salt mine. So I figure I'll just send all the originals down there, have what I need on digital, and it'll be down there for posterity's sake, or as long as I pay the rental on the box that it's in. So that is it. Oh, one other thing. I think I want to focus on, since we've done the debt-free, you know, what comes next. And that's retirement. I don't know when that will be for us, but I would like to think forward to that. So I am interested in having some guests on my channel, either by way of written comment or even an interview. So if you have retired and have had success with that, or things that you wish that you did differently, let me know. And I am going to leave my email address. It should be in the channel description, but if it's not, I will leave my email address in the description of this video, as well as my snail mail address. And if you've got any feedback or would like to be a guest to talk about retirement on this channel, I would welcome that. So be thinking about that. All right, I know this is kind of a longer video than what I like to do, but thanks for being patient with me. Have a wonderful night, and we will check in with you later. Thanks.